Hey guys, MeanSpeed here. Today I'm going to be starting a new series where I'm going to be talking about and reviewing what I consider to be underpowered weapons. So they're going to include things like the homing gun, and other weapons that basically strike me as very hard to use, require a lot of luck to use, that appear as very weak and outclassed by many other things. So yeah, this video is going to be about Sam's Sam and Albert's anti-air arrow. So I'm not exactly going to talk to you about the exact stats and numbers, but just giving you my opinions on why I think it's underpowered and how it can be buffed to improve it. Now, the reason I've stopped the unreleased items series is because two reasons. One, I wanted to play Battlefield Heroes on my laptop, and of course, when you mod the files, you can't actually play the proper game, and I'm much more comfortable playing the game on my laptop. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is because my laptop, during the process of making those videos, was making really loud noises, and it was actually interrupting the performance of my laptop, and also interrupting my voice in a few recordings I did. You probably will be able to hear it in one of my older videos. It's very slight, but it's still annoying for me especially. So yeah, but I will revisit it at some point. So yeah. So now moving on to this, Sam's Sam. Yeah. The weapon itself, it has a great concept, but unfortunately, like most weapons in the game that have a great concept, it's flawed, really. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you about what's wrong with it. It doesn't always hit someone when you lock onto them. You actually have to shoot a bit ahead of the plane, even though you're locked onto it. And also, it makes a noise to alert the pilot that they're being targeted. So if, you've got your game sounds on, you'll be able to hear it. And I know a lot of people do use the game sounds. So yeah. And yeah, it takes a while to lock onto it. And the damage isn't even that big, to be honest with you. Some people think it's worthwhile to give it like a one-shot kill on a plane. Maybe. I'll get onto that later on. But another thing is you can't rocket jump with it very well. It's not as hard to do as with the Dragon Fire, but it still makes the standard RPG look so much easier. And well, the rocket itself doesn't shoot in a straight line if you're trying to attack anything that isn't a plane or a helicopter. And really, another problem with it is that you have to rely on planes being used frequently in the round, whereas they're mostly used by most people just, to get from one place to the other, to get from point A to point B. It's very rare that I see people using planes as the main thing to, take people out with. It's just a fast method of transport, really. And most people will bail out of the plane anyway before you get a kill. Most people, when a plane's on low armor, they'll just, do the obvious thing, get out of it. So yeah, you'll find that it's very hard to finish someone off and get a kill with this weapon. I mean, the best map to try and get some use out of the Sam's Sam and Albert's anti-air arrow is Wicked Wake. That's probably the best map to play on. Simply because there are more planes on that map. Way more plane activity, because obviously there are planes at each team's islands or bases. But even so, I mean, it's really, really hard to get a kill with this. You kind of have to rely on the plane driver, the pilot, not being aware that the plane's on low armor or health, so you can get a kill, or just hope that once you've locked on and fired, someone else shoots, so the plane takes, less damage, and then your shot finishes them off. But yeah, it's very hard to pull it off. It's a very difficult to use weapon. Another problem, I think, this might have been fixed now, but when it first came out, you couldn't actually shoot tanks with it very well. It would go right through the tank, which is I imagine would be very irritating. So yeah, for this to be used a lot more, definitely the damage needs to be higher. It really should do more damage. I believe it takes about 3 or 4 shots to take out a plane, and by the time you've locked on and slowly, it takes a while to lock on, and fired all those shots, hoping they're all hit, the plane well, the person, you know, in the plane will have tried to get out of it, or, you know, they would have escaped. So definitely more damage, and it should come with more ammo without the need to workbench it. It only comes with one ammo. You need to use the pack-in mod from the workbench to give it more. I think it should have 2 shots by default. I think that's good. And I think after you fire the first one, you should be able to fire the second one a lot faster afterwards. So, you know, it's posing more of a threat to planes, really. It also needs to be more accurate and reliable. I already mentioned you have to shoot a bit ahead of the plane, even though you're locked on. You know, I mean, this weapon, a lot of people think that, oh, it's expensive, so it must be good. That's not the case at all. If you can basically get a free version of this by, you know, saving up VP for a long-range machine gun, using frenzy fire, preferably at a high level, and just shooting planes from there. It's way more effective to do that. So, yeah. And you still obviously have your tank buster for everything else. I think that Easy have great ideas for weapons, but they never really develop them in a way to make them used in competitive play. You know, the tank buster, all the variants of the RPG that they've introduced for the gunner really don't even come close to how useful the tank buster is in all situations, I think. So yeah. Also going back to buffing this, I think if there was a game mode or a map that involved a lot more plane and helicopter activity, then the RPGs would be used a lot more. But you know, it's kind of like pointless to try and suggest new maps and game modes and stuff, because obviously they're busy elsewhere. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. My voice may have sounded different in this video because I'm using my microphone for the first time in a long time. Before I used to just speak directly into the laptop, if you know what I mean. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you think that this weapon needs a buff as well. I mean, definitely if you've used it. I mean, if you've seen videos of it, you might think it's good, but that just might be because the person making the video was very lucky, or the people they're fighting against were just unskilled and inexperienced and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to make more videos like this, hopefully in the future, about underpowered weapons. So you can expect me to make more. Just really want to pinpoint the things that need changing, need buffing to make them good and, you know, worth the money that you're paying for them. So yeah, see ya.